And look, this game is going to come down to this. Let's just be real. Let's just be real here. And honestly, I might do this every week or at least for the first half of the season because we got rookies. Controlling the line of scrimmage. It sounds cliche, but it is probably the number one thing week in, week out. And I want to take a look at this matchup for a good bit over the first half of the year until we get an idea of how these rooks are going to be with these veterans, right? You got two rookies at maybe the two most important positions on the line. Center, the kind of Jarvis of the offensive line, and left tackle. And right out the gate, they're going to be tested with a very veteran group. I mean, again, I haven't looked at everybody's defensive line, and each week, we do this, but I'll be hard pressed to find a more veteran group than this one here. Myles Garrett, Quentin Jefferson, Dalvin Tomlinson, Zadarius Smith. This group, they got kids and mortgages, gray hairs. They back is aching. They using Ben Gay. But they go out there and that's a tough group, man. Quentin Jefferson, we should be familiar with this guy. He played with the Jets last year. I mean, he's played on three or four teams now in 4 years. But everywhere he's been productive. Don't let this veteran defensive tackle / end fool you. He's got 20 sacks over the last 3 seasons for 3 different teams. He had 8 last year for the Jets. And you could say, well, the Jets line was deep. Sure, but this Browns defensive line is no slouch. He's playing next to Myles freaking Garrett. So that matchup between him and this interior offensive line of Tyler, BB, and Zach Martin is going to be one to watch. We should also be familiar with Dalvin Tomlinson, a guy who started his career with the New York Giants. Lots of battles with the Cowboys, right? Signed a big contract with Minnesota. I want to say that Zimmer signed Dalvin Tomlinson. Now think about it. Then he went on to Cleveland the last 2 years. Now I'll say this. Tomlinson used to be a dominant run stopper. And I say used to because he's getting older. That's kind of tailed off. And maybe that's by design over the last few years because, again, this Browns defense is more of an attacking defense. Last year, I wouldn't say he was a dominant run defender. He He had a career low, like really low in run stops. But he tied a career high in sacks. So again, you're talking about an attacking defense from front to back. And then you got the Zadarius Smith, a power rusher. We should be familiar with him as well. But a power rusher who played in Minnesota, played in Green Bay. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Rashawn Gary. I'm thinking about matchups because he's going to play with Terrence Steele a bit. But I think he's more refined. And he actually kind of reminds me of Everson Griffin, too. He can get after it. I'm going to say that. He was a really good compliment to Myles Garrett last year. Pass, rush, win rate up there. Only had 6 sacks, but again, it's not all about the sacks. But even then, when you got Myles Garrett on the other side, he's going to get a lot of the sacks. And then, of course, you got the defensive player of the year, Myles Garrett. There aren't many words you need to say about this guy. He can quite literally take over a game. He can quite literally win the game. Y'all remember the Colts game? It wasn't a great game for the Browns defense in total. They gave up some 30-some points or whatever. Myles Garrett had about 2 forced fumbles, two fumble recoveries. I think he blocked a kick, had a touchdown or something. He took over that game. I do want to point this out, though, man. I do want to put this out. A lot of people like to get on Micah to finish off the season. Myles Garrett didn't finish the season strong. But nobody comes at Myles Garrett. And I'll leave it at that. Week 1, though, look, if you're looking for me to give you an answer, there is no answer. Yeah, you can chip him. Yeah, you can put a tight end over there. He's just going to – I've watched him before. It was a clip somebody posted some years ago. The offense would move the tight end or whomever or back, one of the two, to Myles' side, right? Myles will go to the other side. Then they move him back over and he go to the other. He'll play that game with you. They'll give him that freedom to do it. So either way, whether it's Tyler Guyton, whether it's Terrence Steele, whether it's anybody on the interior, got to find 95 and you got to survive. You got to survive. Because if you can survive it, while this secondary, I think, is very good, mostly the cornerbacks. I mean, maybe the best trio of cornerbacks in the league. While the secondary is very good, there are opportunities for big plays. But I think you have to attack them strategically. Now, we just talked about how in the red zone, the Browns defense literally was the worst defense in the red zone. But you have to get there. You have to get there. And sometimes it's going to take big plays, chunk plays. They won't let you get down there methodically that much. You're going to have to challenge these cornerbacks. That means there's going to be some 50-50 balls that your wide receiver is going to have to win. But one thing I did notice in some of these plays in here, you'll see, is that if they come out here in this cover one, and sometimes they don't even have a safety, but if they come out here in this cover one, there were 3 games that I took note of where kind of this 2x2 scissors concept worked. And in this play, this one of my favorite plays that their offensive coordinator drew up all year. It was a variations of that scissors concept, but it was with a twist, a different cell at the top of the route by Dalton Schultz. But if you're going to get chunk plays on this team, you're going to have to attack the safeties. You're going to have to attack them deep. And you're going to have to take some chances on these corners. And I don't want to see any comebacks against them. I don't want to see any. You're going to have outs. You're going to have comebacks. Okay, that's going to happen. But I'm talking about chunk plays. You got to attack them downfield. And you got to attack these safeties. You got to attack these type of looks. If they want to come out here in a cover zero type look, it was kind of these scissors concepts, opposite sides of the field, running crossers, deep posts, whatever. But they're crossing up that safety. They're putting that safety in a bind. And another thing you're going to notice, lots of motion. Lots of motion, man. I can't express this enough. You cannot come out here and be stagnant, y'all. You can't do it.